자, 한 번만 해봐야지. No, I didn't miss anything. No, why is it slow? Yeah, whatever.
Il est 20h. Bonsoir à tous. Voici les titres de l'actualité de ce vendredi. À la une, un Français sur trois entre ce soir à minuit dans une nouvelle séquence, celle d'un confinement à la française qui mérite forcément quelques explications. Comment stopper l'inflation épidémique France, Allemagne, Belgique face à la troisième vague? Et le vaccin AstraZeneca à nouveau dans les seringues, mais uniquement pour les plus de 55 ans. Les explications du docteur Mascret. Le coup d'éclat diplomatique de l'administration Biden après la Russie pour les 4 prochaines semaines. À l'heure de la fermeture, direction les Hauts-de-France, à Lille, mais également à Tourcoing. Claire Colnet, Alexandre Lépinet.
Elle baisse son rideau, le cœur lourd. Pour la dernière fois, avant au moins 4 semaines. Pour cette commerçante lilloise, ce troisième confinement est celui de trop. Elle a déjà perdu 60% de chiffre d'affaires en un an. Un peu de lassitude. On attend le coup de grâce. 4 semaines à la maison, ça fait pas rentrer de l'argent, ça. C'est l'angoisse. Pour son voisin, le même pincement au cœur au moment d'éteindre la lumière, puis de fermer boutique.
On est un peu triste, on est un peu résigné. Voilà, on va maintenant faire au jour le jour comme les 2 fois précédentes.
Pour cette dernière journée d'ouverture,
Voici, je peux vous renseigner, mesdames.
les clientes de son magasin de maroquinerie sont venues en nombre. Dernier conseil, dernière trouvaille, avant une date de réouverture encore incertaine.
On en a profité pour faire les achats. Pour se faire plaisir une dernière fois, parce qu'on sait qu'on pourra toujours commander, mais faire travailler le local en fait.
Ça va nous manquer d'accueillir nos clients et c'est forcément c'est un coup dur. Après, on comprend qu'il faut être solidaire.
À Tourcoing, cette vendeuse de bijoux, elle, dénonce une injustice et dit ne pas comprendre ce nouveau tour de vis.
À quoi ça sert? Bon, je suis une toute petite structure. J'accueille une personne à la fois. C'est dur parce qu'en fait, c'est une saison qui démarre et on a besoin de travailler.
Pour ce nouveau cas, ses clients
So far, the first lady, Dominique Gambino, she actually closes her door, right? It's really kind of the third time in this year, more than, at least, two, I'm not really in this year. Ever since the pandemic crisis, this is the third time she already actually had to shut down her business more than 2 times. She complained already in a year, within a 365 days, she almost lost a 60 percentile of her revenues. That means that she, throughout the entire pandemic lockdowns, more than 2 times already, she could not actually open up her business to sell anything. So it's really kind of a tragic, she really felt the gravity of the situation. She said it's really kind of terrible, honestly, say that it's really bad and it's really kind of ruined the condition, right? And her neighbor, the boutique owner, Guillaume, actually felt the same way too. Already 2 times it took place, and no longer, feel certain about how we can actually work and how we can go on with our business. That's really unknown to us. And another seller who's been operating the business, right now, truly complained about this injustice. How long we should actually go on. We are not at all certain whether we could have survived this because we can no longer function as a sellers who actually deliver any message or sell any products to our customers. So, before this, third or lockdown, this is really one less, advice to customers, one less chance to communicate with them, one less opportunity to sell something. You actually notice that Guillaume is trying to actually, hand out a bag. She wanted to try it out as a customer, and he's a boutique, right? So this is one less opportunity before the third lockdown that is about to happen. This is Friday's one.
son voisin voisins gratuitement.
Tu ramènes les petits colis comme la fois dernière.
Lui est vendeur de bonbons, il peut donc rester ouvert.
Ça fait un peu mal au cœur de voir des commerces qui doivent encore une fois fermer. Voilà, c'est mon geste de solidarité.
Ce soir,
So she can't, you know.
commerces ont dû fermer leurs portes. Dans
So also, the candy shop is really forced to close. This is not really essential business. I know some of them are actually being handed out freely to actually show the solidarity in the local region to cheer them up.
toute la France.
It affects, you know, almost everyone in the region across the nation.
Les salons de coiffure ont d'abord cru qu'ils allaient à nouveau devoir fermer leurs portes, mais rebondissement matinal, ils font finalement partie des exceptions de cette nouvelle version du confinement. Réaction dans un salon familial à Paris aujourd'hui. Chloé Tixier, Virginie Travers.
Dans ce salon de coiffure parisien, les coups de ciseaux s'enchaînent. Les habitués se sont précipités pour prendre rendez-vous, finalement soulagés d'apprendre que le salon restait ouvert.
On a attendu 4 semaines pour se couper les cheveux. Et quand elle m'a dit non, ça y est, c'est bon, vous inquiétez pas.
So, you know what, this is really great. Some of the, you know, businesses this time they were allowed to open up even actually after the lockdowns. So hair salons and hairdressers felt dreadful because they just actually opened up after a long lockdowns, but fortunately this time they can actually remain open. But if you ever actually read the previous sentences, you know, it has been just said that already actually, you know, those businesses that could have operated their business throughout the first and the second lockdowns, they are authorized to function noticeably, these essential businesses. But this time, this, you know, essential business list has been enlarged to include hair salons. You know, some of rather unnecessary business, tell the truth, you know. No, it's really case that this time they can open.
On est ouvert. Waouh, j'étais super heureux.
I know, when I actually heard that hair salon can open up, and I was super thrilled and super happy to learn that.
Avait pourtant anticipé la fermeture, changement de programme et tout un planning à revoir.
You know what? This, you know, almost unexpected change allows, you know, hair salons to open up even in the midst of the pandemic crisis. They expected this would be shut down throughout another lockdown, but this time the actual list categorizing the essential business that are basically allowed to open up throughout the third lockdown has been expanded. More of the businesses are okay to keep their business going, right?
On a dû décommander, prévenir les clients, ramener tout le monde pour aujourd'hui, et finalement redispatcher dans la semaine. C'est une grosse organisation, communication très compliquée au niveau du gouvernement, je trouve, mais bon, voilà, on est heureux quand même. Hein.
So, you know what, there are, you know, different programs, and somewhat, you know, difficult, you know, recognitions by the governmental decision within their communication service, and they were planning the announcement. The government announcement has been, you know, somewhat complicated with the different issues, so not so certain what type of discretion they use to authorize certain business or not. But anyway, I feel happy because, you know, hair salons can remain open. This is really great. You know, when the government, you know, announcement comes out, it was really complicated because there were mixed messages there, and some of them were actually open and some of them were actually, you know, closed, and there are a little bit of, you know, complicated issues, a little bit of there are, you know, much more non-factors out there from the perspective of a non-governmental visual, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we're actually good to open up.
Une bonne surprise. Jusqu'ici, les salons de coiffure n'étaient pas considérés comme des commerces essentiels.
This is, you know, one heck of a surprise because hair salons are so far never been categorized as essential businesses. So they were actually asked to shut down in the midst of pandemic. They were always asked to close their door in France in the face of a new pandemic lockdown. No closure rules are being applied to hair salons, and it's a surprise to everyone. No one expected that.
Pourtant, les clients viennent prendre du temps pour eux, et c'est encore plus indispensable aujourd'hui.
So, you know what? That's really the reason, and the more of the customers and the clients that are actually being met with the service, they're actually, using their time wisely to have their hair done, and that they actually remain relatively free because they do not really need to feel the pressure of closures. So no, binge hair making or hair doing anything is really possible. I'd rather actually remain calm and freely plan ahead by scheduling future customers because they can stay open.
Moi, j'en ai deux qui viennent toutes les semaines et je suis ravie que ça reste ouvert.
Je pense que tout le monde a besoin de bien-être dans cette période difficile. Ça fait 1 an que ça dure et qu'on a besoin d'essayer de se faire beau pour le printemps.
Un bien-être de plus en plus encadré. Jusqu'ici, il fallait 8 mètres carrés pour chaque client, mais ce protocole sanitaire pourrait être encore renforcé.
At least, they maintain the number of people for, 8 square meter and how many people, make the distinction. There are rules that are much intensified to keep the hygienic conditions inside the hair salons, even though they're actually allowed to operate. How many people are allowed inside the actual hair salon business, or even to what extent people should spread out and what type of hygienic conditions they need to follow. And these type of rules are much more intensified and strengthened to prevent the shutdown. So because they do not really have the infected from their services, they might actually eventually suspend their business once more. So the number of people inside the 8 square meter, that would actually be limited, and the more spanned out, and distancing, and a perfect mask wearing, and hand sanitization. And then, that's really what it is right now. People are really asked to follow much more rigid instructions to keep health conditions safe and secure. The one clients that I think, there's always a necessity to be there, and I'm glad, it's just really there, but there's always a need to be there, really.
Ce sont donc 16 départements qui sont concernés par les nouvelles mesures mises en place. Et sans surprise, une partie des franciliens ont fait le choix de se mettre au vert. 400 km de bouchons sur les routes à la mi-journée. Et la SNCF qui a dû ajouter quelques wagons à ses trains au départ de Paris en direction de Nantes, Bordeaux, Lyon ou encore Marseille.
So, this region, within a radius of 400 kilometer, 16 regions that are actually immediately falling in the region of new confinement. The SNCF, the National Railway System, increases trains starting from Paris. So these lines are from Paris to Nantes, and from Paris to Bordeaux, from Paris to Rennes. And these regions, you are actually going to see more of the trains bounding from Paris. The trains bound from Paris are likely to be increased. The train bound from Paris. Trains bound from Paris to Bordeaux. And to Rennes. And to Nantes. SNCF announces there are increased trains from Paris to Bordeaux, from Paris to Rennes, from Paris to Nantes. Bound from Paris, that means departure, departing from Paris.
Maëva Damois, François Desroux.
Pare-choc contre pare-choc. 400 km de bouchons cumulés en sortie d'Île-de-France, ici porte d'Orléans, ou encore sur l'autoroute de Normandie. Course contre la montre également dans les gares parisiennes toute la journée. À quelques heures du reconfinement, les franciliens qui le peuvent plient bagages.
Je rentre en Bretagne chez mes parents et puis je pars parce qu'ils reconfinent et j'ai pas envie d'être confiné.
So, shortly after the announcement of the lockdown that has just announced yesterday, just within a few hours of the announcement, already actually roads either heading towards north to Normandy or even actually heading toward Lyon from, Paris and the greater metro area of Paris, Ile-de-France. These, 400 kilometers are completely, bumper to bumper packed up with the cars, because Parisians either using their vehicles to go to Normandy, the upper north, or even actually going downward Lyon, both ways, within the radius of 400 kilometers, major highways and roads are completely bumper to bumper. Shook. Do you really understand this one? I even actually understand this. Bumper to bumper. Tell the truth, the shook is not bumper. This is igniter. It's really, but in English, you can actually safe to say the bumper to bumper. Cars are lining up almost with no space at all, completely packed up like sardines. And also, the major Paris stations like Montparnasse and the northern stations, they're all actually filled up with the Parisians, just like the regular. Of course, the Parisians are regularly accustomed to this type of crowd in the stations, but this is very unusual because, immediately following from the lockdown announcements, people are packing up, carrying in heavy carriages and suitcases. They're actually living for somewhere. And this Francois, he's been actually, he just actually said that he is, about to go to his parents' house. Right now, he's actually at the station, but his destination is Bretagne. Why is it so? Bretagne is where his parents are. This is really where his parents' houses is. So ever since the announcement of the confinement, that's really the third lockdown in Paris and a greater metro area of Paris. So he's been actually living for somewhere else. He's actually living outside. He's been deserting Paris because he could not actually leave here where lockdowns are about to take place. Before the lockdown, this is a Friday, shortly before the lockdown, starting from today, Saturday, this is a Friday, he's been actually living for Bretagne. Bretagne is really the area where his parents are, according to why he's going there. Because, lockdowns are about to influence the entire region within the 400 kilometers. So, the bouchon, the area of the highways along the I'm not really an expert, but I can actually say this. It's really annoying. Everything is really annoying. You know what? If you ever go from Paris, if this is Paris and this is Ile-de-France, Ile-de-France is really the... No, I have to spell this correctly. Ile-de-France. Ile-de-France is really right below France. This is France. Ile-de-France is a greater Paris area, metropolitan Paris area. This is Paris. And however, this bouchon, Paris main highways connected either to Normandy and Lyon, they're all blocked, bumper to bumper. Choke is really sparks. Alright, spark. Auf English, das heißt sparks. Spark plug. Spark plug. Right? Isn't that a spark plug? It's ignition. Choke. But in English, you can actually see the choke is a bumper to bumper. It's really literally, it's a sparks plug. But it means bumper to bumper. The cars are lining up, snaking out. It forges a long queue endlessly, approximately 400 kilometers from north and from south, everywhere, trying to make this mass exodus out of Paris, either heading towards Normandy, going upwards to northern France, or even actually going down or Lyon. These, Beaucaire, the 400 kilometers of highways connected to Paris in the greater Paris area called the Ile-de-France. These areas are completely choked up with the massive traffic to create a traffic deadlock and traffic jam. Major highways, up to 400 kilometers in and outside of Paris from north to south are completely jammed up with the cars and bumper to bumper to create a massive snake. Right? Choke. I really actually know this much. Choke means the sparks plug. Sparks plug in ignition, car ignition. But this in English, you can actually say this bumper to bumper. That means the cars are just lining up without giving any space. It's jammed up. If your car is right over here, then it is followed by another car, and it is also preceded by another car. You know what? Think about it. I don't really need to think twice about it because I know better. you know what? There is a car in front of you, and your car is sandwiched between another car. The car is right over you. This is a bumper, you know, bumper to bumper. Your car is being squashed by the follow-up cars endlessly because it creates a deadlock and traffic jam. This is called a deadlock. This is really a traffic jam. A major traffic jam. I don't really need to think about it. It's a very easy. A traffic jam with the massive cars. You know, this is really fucking annoying because, you know what, the paints are not working. But I can honestly say that this is a traffic jam. Traffic jam. So, you know, I really actually, you know, emphasize this one. There is no better expression than choke a choke as a bumper. Bumper to bumper. This is a bumper-to-bumper situation. That means your car is getting sandwiched, book-ended between, you know, many different cars. Book-ended. Do you even actually know this expression? Book-ended. The car is book-ended by other cars. So, you know, another car is a subsequent to, another car is right in front of you. The preceding your car, and another car is also following you. Your car is basically sandwiched by the car. The entire highway up to 400 kilometers, northern bound and southern bound of Paris are completely chalked up and jammed up and packed up with the cars lining up in a snake. This is really a mass exodus before the lockdown starting on Saturday, this Friday. You actually witness the people are swarming out of Paris, or the greater metropolitan of Paris called Ile-de-France. Either they're heading towards Normandy, northern way. This, you know, a young guy who actually said that he's going to Bretagne. Bretagne is a really different region, close to English Channel. Why? Because his parents live there. And he just really doesn't want to stay alone in this lockdown ghost town that is about to have another pandemic crisis lockdown. So he's going to stay with his parents. Huh.
Je pars en province dans le Poitou-Charentes et je pars potentiellement pour un mois. Pourquoi? Parce que mon appartement est trop petit pour faire du télétravail.
Résultat, les trains sont bons.
So, you know what? She's been actually heading towards, you know, Provence. You know, anyhow, you know, it's really actually, you know, being closed down. So until it would actually not really be seriously affecting the work, you know, why not? You know, this, you know, she just actually wants to stay away from it by modulating her work life so she could actually never fall behind, but she doesn't really want to stay here.
Aucun siège libre sur ces images tournées par un voyageur dans un train pour Marseille ce midi.
You know what? There is no empty seat on this, you know, a train car. It's heading towards Marseille. You know, this afternoon, just shortly after the announcement by the French government, just a few hours after the announcement of the French government, this is one SNCF, you know, a train heading towards Marseille. There is no empty seat at all. Every seat is packed up with people taking up and occupying the seat because they're actually going out of Paris and they're living for Marseille. Can you believe it? This is really only the afternoon on Friday, just shortly, you know, just a few hours after the government announcement of Saturday's lockdown. Tell the truth, this lockdown is about to start in Saturday. So Saturday is the beginning of the lockdown. That doesn't mean it would actually finish on the same day for sure. No one really can guarantee how long this lockdown would last. However, this many people already actually, you know, get the Marseille bound train tickets. So no empty seats at all, period. Completely packed up. Aucun siège non occupé. C'est incroyable. The destination is Marseille. It's not really that difficult.